Hello friends. Today we are going to discuss about prescribing medicine on telemedicine practice. I am Dr. Suresh Padadmat, Professor of Psychiatry, Head of Telemedicine Center, Head of Forensic Psychiatry Unit at NIMHANS, Bangalore. This presentation is based on Telemedicine Practice Guideline, which was notified on 25th March 2020 by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Board of Governors in partnership with Niti Aayog. Although this guideline is a part of Appendix 5 of Indian Medical Council Professional Conduct, Etiquette and Regulation 2002, it is also a legally valid document under National Medical Commission Act of 2019. Before I continue with my presentation, I would like to have a disclaimer. This presentation is for academic and training purpose only, not for legal opinion. If you want to have a legal opinion, please do contact an advocate. We also request you kindly to go through the original document of Telemedicine Practice Guideline, which was notified by the Ministry. Also, please visit the National Medical Commission website for any amendments or update on this guideline. With this, let's understand what are the requirements for prescribing a medication online. Let's discuss about the requirements of the law. The doctor needs to remember the first and the foremost is Indian Medical Council Act Regulation, which talks about professional conduct, etiquettes and ethics regulation 2002 has to be followed, which is now part of National Medical Commission Act of 2019. Along with that, the doctor should not contravene the provisions of Drugs and Cosmetic Act of 1940 and Rules 1945. Along with this, the doctor need to follow the clinical practice guideline, any standard operating procedure for prescribing a drug. Those need to be followed. You cannot say that it's a telemedicine practice. I'm not going to do any blood test or any other test or ECG before starting the medicine. Whatever clinical practice guideline SOPs need to be followed. Along with that, Telemedicine Practice Guideline 2020 needs to be followed. Further, for a simple understanding, it is easily explainable that laws that are applicable for in-person consultation prescription, same laws are applicable even in telemedicine practice and prescribing medication. However, for telemedicine prescription, telemedicine practice guidelines also is applicable along with the in-person laws. Moving, what are the medicines that can be prescribed during online consultation? There are 4 types: List O, List A, List B, and Prohibited List. So prohibited list at any cost cannot be prescribed. Now let's discuss about List O, A and B. List O. The List O are basically over-the-counter medication. This can be prescribed in any type of mode of consultation. It can be audio, it can be video, or else in even text, that is through email or SMS. See, over-the-counter medications are those medications such as paracetamol, O.R.S, cough lozenges, topical ointments, vitamin, food supplements, etc. Along with that, List O also includes the drugs which are notified by the government during public health emergency or like pandemic. So those drugs can fall under List O. Coming to the medication List A. Medication List A are those medications which are relatively safe and with low potential for abuse. So those are considered under List A. But however, please do remember, for first consult, video consult is must. So for telefollow-up, it can be done in any mode of consultation. Moving to the List B. See, List B are those medicines which can be prescribed after undergoing a in-person follow-up in the past 6 months. That is very, very essential. I'll repeat that. The doctor can prescribe List B only when the patient is in telefollow-up. That means the patient should have met the doctor in person in the past 6 months for same health condition. Then only the List B medications can be given. List B medications are those medicines which are prescribed in person, can be refilled during the telemedicine practice or telemedicine prescription. Further, the add-on medications which can be added during the telefollow-up. So these are like, for example, in hypertension, if the doctor has given an antihypertensive, the blood pressure is not controlled. Now the doctor wants to add on a medicine like enalapril, like ACE inhibitors, can be done. They are all called as add-on drugs. List B has 2 types. To repeat, list B has two types, add-on drug and refill drugs. Moving further, prohibited list. Please remember, at any cost, these medicines should not be prescribed. They are completely prohibited under the Telemedicine Practice Guideline. Prohibited lists are two. One is Schedule X under the Drugs and Cosmetic Act of 1940 and Rules 1945, and NDPS drug list, which comes under Narcotics and Drugs Psychotropic Substance Act of 1985. These two legislation, Schedule X and the drugs notified under the NDPS Act. Now let's look into the Schedule X. Schedule X drugs are those amphetamine, methamphetamine, dexamphetamine, methylphenidate and so forth. So these medicines should not be prescribed online at any cost. Moving to the NDPS list, that is, narcotic and psychotropic substance which are listed under NDPS Act of 1985 cannot be prescribed, like buprenorphine, methadone, morphine, codeine, pentazocine, tramadol, cannabis. Such medicines cannot be done. Please remember, benzodiazepine do fall under this category. So please don't prescribe benzodiazepine. I will repeat, please don't prescribe benzodiazepine. So they fall under the NDPS drug category. Moving to the matrix, please look at the matrix. The matrix on the column has a list O, list A, list B, and list C. And then the list C is basically prohibited list. List O, in the first consultation, any mode, telefollow-up, any mode, audio, video, or text message. Whereas list A, in first consult, it has to be video consultation, or telefollow-up, any mode. Coming to the list B, is not allowed for first consult, but however, telefollow-up, any mode is allowed. Prohibited list is completely prohibited. Moving, what is the format of online prescription? The online prescription is as follows. The topmost, it has to be registered practitioner's name, hospital name, along with the qualification, registration number of the doctor, along with the date and time. Moving further down, name, address, age, gender of the patient, height, weight, and last menstrual cycle has to be noted. Moving towards the chief complaints, relevant past history and family history, examination, lab findings, and suggested investigation. The diagnosis and provisional diagnosis is must. Either one of them has to be done. Without a diagnosis or a provisional diagnosis, please don't prescribe medication. It amounts to misconduct under the Telemedicine Practice Guideline. The medications list has to be in the generic name and in capital letters. Further down, the special instruction should be written, and at the below, the wordings has to be very clear. This prescription has been generated through telemedicine consultation, RMP signature and stamp. This is how the prescription on telemedicine looks like. How to send this prescription to the patient now, or how do you transmit? It's very simple. Telemedicine Practice Guidelines had made it very simple. Photo. Take the prescription photo and send the photo, or else scan the prescription, or else take the digital of the signed prescription, or else e-prescription. This can be sent either by email or on any messaging platform. So the Telemedicine Practice Guidelines made it so easy so that the doctor can reach the patient at any corner of the country. Moving towards the e-prescription. This is slightly different from the normal prescription. E-prescription is basically software-based prescription. The patient consults the doctor arrives at a diagnosis, generates the e-prescription and sends it to the server. From the server, there are two possibilities. One, from the server, the prescription directly goes to the patient, or else it will go to a particular pharmacy. But however, before sending to a pharmacy, you have to take explicit consent from the patient. If you don't take, it will again amounts for professional misconduct. Moving to the important point, before you send your prescription to any pharmacy, please do take explicit consent. Can a RMP prescribe injectable medication on telemedicine consultation? No. The RMP cannot prescribe injection to the patient directly. However, Telemedicine Practice Guidelines allows the doctor to write the prescription and transmit to the nearest healthcare worker where the patient resides, and the healthcare worker, once the prescription is taken, he can provide the injections. So that is very essential. However, Further, it also can be given, a specialist can give the prescription to another RMP on behalf of the patient. That means the injections cannot be given directly to the patient. It has to be either given to an RMP or to another healthcare worker who is going to give the injection. Further, there has been some exemptions has been placed. Before the exemption we discuss, let us understand the person who is transmitting the prescription to a healthcare worker should have confidence on the healthcare worker that is going to give the injection properly, along with the facility of the healthcare worker. Means facility is the how the health center has been monitored by the healthcare worker. So these two obligation has been casted upon the RMP to look into this matter. Along with this, the exceptions have been placed, like certain medications which do not have any alternate form of like tablets, like insulin, low molecular weight heparin, vaccines, they can be prescribed on telemedicine. Do a patient need to take a printout of the prescription? Telemedicine practice guideline is very clear. There is no need of printout. A simple e-prescription on a mobile phone is more than enough. Caution: do not issue prescription without a diagnosis or a provisional diagnosis. That is very essential. Further, can a RMP issue a online prescription for least B medicine? The patient has been seen by his colleague by in person by him, not by the RMP who is now going to consult on telemedicine. In such a scenario, please do remember, for telefollow-up, in-person consultation in past 6 months is very essential for the same health condition. So you cannot do that. Any amendment for telemedicine practice guideline? Yes, of course. Telemedicine guidelines has been amended recently. As per this, some of the prohibited medicines have been allowed, such as phenobarbital, clobazam, clonazepam can be prescribed either in the first consult or in the follow-up consult. To conclude, dear friends, online prescription can be sent through various digital format, either by the photo, scan, e-prescription can be sent. Need to follow the Indian Medical Council or NMC regulation for sending the prescription. Please do remember that. Please do follow list A, list B, and prohibited medicine should not be prescribed online. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Stay safe.